everyone, I'm Miss Nezik, a Year 6 teacher and the maths lead at Harrywood. Thank you for watching this video today, which is all about the multiplication tables check for Year 4 pupils. Throughout the presentation, you'll hear me refer to it as the MTC, but that's just short for the multiplication tables check. Right, let's get into it. So the MTC is now statutory. It was planned to be statutory back in 2016. However, things just kept getting pushed back. But effective June 2022, so for the current Year 4 pupils, it does become a requirement for all of them. The test is done electronically. And it's made up of 25 multiplication questions. So there's none of the inverse division facts. It's all multiplication, and it tests their knowledge up to 12 times 12. That's the highest times table they'll get. They are given 6 seconds per question. So I've given an example of a screenshot, exactly how it will look on the left. So that will pop up on their screen. They're given 6 seconds to type in their answer. They don't necessarily have to press enter. Whatever's in that box at the end of the 6 seconds will be submitted as their answer. And then there's a 3-second pause between each question. So once the time expires, then 3 seconds will pass and then the next question will pop up. You'll notice that actually at the top there, it says try it out. So they're given 3 practice questions before the 25 real questions actually start. Pupils are also given a chance to practice using the DFE system online for a couple weeks leading up to the test. So they won't go into it never having seen the format before. They'll be used to it because they'll have a chance to practice at school. So the children will all be tested in June. There's a 3-week testing window. So we kindly ask that you don't book any holidays during the term time, especially not in June. Not all pupils will be tested on the same day, due to obviously a limited number of computers and us wanting to only test a couple pupils at a time, just so that they can really focus in the ICT suite. Not everyone will be tested on the same day. So please don't panic if you hear of one child, a friend's child, for instance, being tested one day and your child hasn't been tested yet. That being said, if you do end up booking any holidays, anything like that, please let the school know so that we're able to test your child around the times that you may be away. Now, the results aren't instantly available. That's for neither for the children or for us. So in recent years, they've been published in July, and it's actually been the 1st of July that they give the schools access to them. But we will be reporting these to parents in the end of year report. If you have any children who've sat the Key Stage 2 SATs, any older children, you'll know that their scores go home in their report at the end of the year. It will be same for the multiplication tables check. So we'll give you a score out of 25. So that would have been the score your child has achieved, along with the school average. National averages usually aren't released till the following year, but we will give you those once they are available. Now, in terms of a Passmark, our Academy Trust that we're a part of, the Epping Forest Schools Partnership Trust, has set the working at threshold at 20 out of 25 marks. So in other words, this is the score your child will need to pass the MTC. Just sort of as a bit of information, our school average last year for the Year 4 MTC, although it was just a voluntary one due to COVID, was 22.44 marks. So in the past, our children have achieved excellent scores on the MTC, and we hope to keep that up this year with your support at home. Right, just some other bits. If your child's test happens to be interrupted, let's say somebody's come down the corridor talking quite loudly, then they will be able to restart it. The DFE does give us permission for that. Unfortunately, we can't restart it if they get the first couple questions wrong or they've typed something wrong accidentally. That wouldn't be reason for restarting it, but there are a specific list of valid reasons why we could. Another important thing is that there's not an equal spread of the tables. So because they view the 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, 10s, and 11s as the easier ones, really, ones they should have known in year 2 and year 3, it's more likely that tables in the 6, 7s, 8s, 9s, and 12s will come up. That's not just me guessing or saying that. That is a fact that the DFE have said. So it is certainly worthwhile to make sure that those ones are ones your child is really practicing regularly and really knows at home. How you can help. So keyboard skills are so important. It's hard enough for some children, to be able to remember and recall the times tables really quickly, but then we're throwing in this extra element of needing to use a keyboard as well, because it is going to take place on the computer. If a child, for example, was halfway through entering a 2-digit answer, so say 8 times 9 is 72, if they'd only managed to type in the 7 and then their 6 seconds ran out, that would be submitted as their answer. So it's really important that their typing skills are up to scratch as well. So if you do have a computer at home, whether it be a laptop or just a PC with a keyboard, it would be great to get them to practice using that numerical keypad on the right side. Some children are quite fussy and do prefer to use the ones at the top, which I've put the box around in red there. However, it does take a lot longer to move your fingers across for those types of answers. For example, 10 times 10 being 100, they've got to move their finger all the way from the 1 to the 0. It is faster on the keypad identified in green there. So we do encourage them at school as well to be using that one. But again, it's something they need more practice with outside of their 2 ICT sessions a week at school. Another really important thing is to help your child understand that, for example, 8 times 3 is the same as 3 times 8. That's called the commutative property of multiplication, but they don't need to know that jargon. It's just so often we come across children that will say, if we ask them, what 8 times 3 is, they'll say, I don't know my 8s. But then if you turn it the other way around and say 3 times 8, they say, oh yeah, I know my 3s. So if they understand those sort of opposite facts, then they'll know that, well, then they'll have less multiplication number facts that they need to remember. Rote learning, I really do think is a great tool for learning multiplication facts. Some of you might be like me, and that's the way we were taught in school. But it's really important not just to recite the multiples, so not just to say 6, 12, 18, 24, but to recite the whole facts. So 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, just so that they're associating the question with the answer as well. Some people like to just say 6 1s are 6, 6 2s are 12, rather than the times bit. But just having that whole fact is important. Flashcards, which is something you can make at home, are quite good, because then they're reading the question as well, because that's obviously an element to the test. Reading the question, recalling the fact, typing it in, all within the space of 6 seconds. So getting them to be reading the facts off cards could be quite good. Just some further tools. So Mathletics, as I'm sure you know, we subscribe to as a school. So there's just a few ways there that they could use Mathletics to practice their times tables. A popular one is the times table tunes, which is under play. We had a year 4 class in the past that really benefited from using that. They enjoyed singing the songs, and it just helped those tables to sink in. So if your child is particularly musically inclined, that might be a good one to try. My favorite tool, and the best tool for understanding what the MTC will actually be like, is Times Table of Rock Stars. So although it's maybe not as great for learning the tables, that's something more you need to support your child with, reciting the facts, memorizing the facts. It's a really good practice tool. So there's a mode on there, and it's called sound check mode. And it's an exact emulator of the MTC. So it's literally exactly what it's going to be like, except that the background's purple and there's like a little rock star in the corner. Otherwise, it's the exact same. So that will give you a really good idea of what your child's score is going to be. There's some children who have been particularly impressive already, and they're already getting scores in the 20s. So for them, it will just be sort of brushing up on some of the tables they don't know. If that doesn't sound at all like your child, then you're better off starting with more of the basic times tables, possibly the ones they should have known in year 2 and 3. So things like the 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s, those ones. And just doing some practice with those ones before going on to sound check mode. Don't want them to get discouraged by doing all of the harder ones when they need a bit of help with some of the other ones. That concludes the multiplication tables check parent session. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it's given you a better understanding of what the test entails and just a few ways you could help your child practice their times tables. If you do have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to your child's class teacher or to me directly so that we can help you further. Thanks again. Bye.